Good afternoon, Namibia, and welcome to your daily lunchtime show, where we get to catch up on current events and headlines that are in the news. I am your host, Priska Anyolo, and thank you so much for joining us. So do stay tuned for 4 video news inserts from Osire and Windhoek. Up first, your COVID-19 monitor. To date, 1,661 healthcare workers have tested positive for COVID-19 in Namibia. Of these cases, 1,102, or two-thirds, were recorded since the 1st of December 2020. The decrease in new cases among health workers are continuing at more or less the same rate than with the new cases in general. Over the 7 days ended on Monday, 35 new health workers tested positive, compared to 61 during the cycle before that. 10 of the new cases are from Windhoek, while from the Oshikoto, Erongo, and Karas regions, each reported 4 new cases. In both Oshana and Kavango East, 3 carers tested positive, 2 each in Ohangwena and Omaheke, and single cases in the Musati, Zambezi, and Hardap regions. Early this morning, a 3-year-old boy died at the state hospital in Oshwarongo. He sustained serious brain injuries when a wall of his family's house in the Osire refugee camp caved in. Esther Kamati visited the scene. In our second video, some opposition politicians walked out of the National Assembly yesterday when President Hage Geingob opened the legislative year virtually via a video message. Ogeto Craig was there.
Stop the recording. I'm having a question. Yes. Can you stop the recording? No. Now I'm asking you, speaker, it's a recording, can you stop it? It's a recording, man. I'm having a question to you, and I press, and then you ignore me. I'm asking you a question. What is the problem? You can stop the tape. We are in 1986. You can stop the tape. Let the proceed. Now, did you consult the chief whips when you decided on me? No, I'm asking the question. What is the problem? You switched off my system deliberately. That's why you call this time. I respond. No, I'm first asking, then you respond. You can tell me to respond. We wrote you a letter also about this thing. Now, don't say I'm like a dictator. What is the question? Now, I'm asking you a question. Did you receive free money or what? No, I'm asking you a question. Can you stop the tape? What is a tape? It's not like let's analyze it. No, it's a tape. We can you can do it later. Speaker. I'm asking you a question. You deny the choice. Please. I'm asking you a question.
Discuss what you have become. This is the constitution of money is not failing something.
No, not the definition.
And the Chief Justice is here.
You can start the tape later. What is the problem?
This is an act of
In our next story, a Namibian-born engineer, Professor Fani van Vieren, and one of his students designed the unique overflow wall of the Neckartal Dam. With this, they made an international breakthrough in 3D modeling, now used in many other countries. In the next insert, van Vieren explains how they went about it and how the model works.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Professor Fani van Vieren, University of Pretoria, and I'm privileged to be involved in the assessment of the system on a model scale base for the Neckartal Dam. We conduct this work as part of our continuous research, and in this case we're doing it for the client Department of Water Affairs of the Ministry of Agriculture and Water Supply of Namibia. The proposed Neckartal Dam will be constructed in the Fish River, 40 kilometers west of Keetmanshoop and around about 25 kilometers north of the small town of Osire in the Karras region of Namibia. The dam has a catchment area of 45,370 square kilometers. The mean annual runoff is 397 million cubic meters per annum. And the intended storage facility of the dam will be 846 million cubic meters. This makes the dam ratio with regard to volume and MAR at 2.13 MAR dam. The dam wall will be 68 meters high, and the structure will consist of a step spillway section with a total length of the spillway of 396 meters. This dam is developed by the Ministry of Agriculture, Water and Forestry, and the department associated with this project is the Department of Water Affairs and Forestry. The director from the client side in charge of this project is Mr. Harold Koch, he's Director of Rural Water Supply. The consulting engineers is Knight Pisolt Consulting Engineers, who's responsible for the design of this specific project. In this case, the model study that we intend to run here today reflects the purpose of evaluating the energy dissipation and also look at the hydraulics, three-dimensional hydraulics of the dam structure in total. In the first case, we will have model number 1, which we'll refer to as M1 in the different video clips. The purpose of this model is to look at the energy efficiency of the energy dissipation, and in this case, various sill wall heights will be assessed. The model has been constructed to a scale of 1:60, and in this case, we will evaluate the recommended design flood, which is for this dam 9,060 cubic meters per second, as well as the safety evaluation discharge of 21,480 million cubic meters per second. Excuse me. The model 2 at the back, in the background, will be the three-dimensional assessment of the hydraulics, specifically with regard to the discharge on the right flank of the system, where there's a chute collecting the water around about of 1/3 of the length of the wall and taking it down into the riverbed itself.
Namibia often experiences a shortage in blood supplies. Claudia Reiter visited the blood transfusion services in Windhoek and spoke to Titus Shivute about the drive to recruit new donors.
My name is Titus Chibute. I'm the supervisor for donor recruitment as well as public relations here at the Blood Transfusion Service of Namibia. We are appealing to the general public to donate blood during these very crucial times, as the Blood Transfusion Service has experienced shortages in the beginning of the year, and we are currently experiencing a moderate supply of blood across the country. Now, in comparison to preceding years when we've actually done blood donation sessions at educational institutions around the country and being able to collect sufficient amounts of blood to supply to all hospitals and medical centers during this period, in 2021 we are actually experiencing a significant drop in collections, and we are appealing to each and everyone that's eligible to donate blood this coming Saturday, the 13th of February, to do so at our headquarters in 35 Dal Street between 8 o'clock in the morning and 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And we are also appealing to all residents in Swakopmund to donate at our Swakopmund Center, located in 4th Ferdinand Stick Street, between 8 o'clock and 1 o'clock this coming Saturday as well.
Now we look at what is leading Namibia's print media today. According to Namibian Sun, a South African entrepreneur is suing well-connected local partners, some with political clout, for millions after a housing project in Walvis Bay failed to materialize. Republican reports that basic education in Namibia remains of a low standard. 1 in 5 learners have to repeat grade 1, and the repetition rate increases in later grades. The Algemeine Zeitung, like today's edition of the Namibian, leads with opposition parties' criticism because the head of state did not in person attend the annual opening of Parliament. Their plan was to demand answers about high-level corruption and other issues, although the event is traditionally ceremonial in nature. The Namibian second lead focuses on the impact of an ongoing outbreak of foot and mouth disease in the north of the country on the cattle and meat trade. According to New Era, more cases of COVID-19 is being reported at schools in different parts of the country. And now for our daily pick of content from inside the dailies. MarketWatch reports that the percentage of non-performing loans by September 2020 reached an all-time record of 6.4%. The acceptable ratio is 3%, less than half of that. Take a ride in the new Toyota Corolla in today's issue of My NA Cars and read a lot of other interesting motoring news and advice. The board of the Namibia Broadcasting Corporation, again, according to Namibian Sun, emphasized that annual salary increases of 5% or more are not possible due to a lack of funds. And Republican reports that a second flood is expected to reach the Namibian banks of the Orange River towards the end of the week. Allgemeine Zeitung tells why the municipality of Swakopmund issued an eviction order against the Novahimba Living Museum on the outskirts of the coastal town. According to the Namibian, staff at the University of Namibia is opposed against large-scale restructuring to cut down to costs. A New Era reports on Vice President Bumba Nangolo's plea to members of the African Union to protect and promote indigenous languages on the continent. We have reached the end of our show, and we wish you a lovely Wednesday ahead, and also to consider to become a lifesaver by starting to donate blood. I've been your host, Priska Anyolo, and thank you so much for joining us on NMH at 1, and do stay tuned for the weather as well. Goodbye.